My name is Blade Cotelli, and I work at MIT. I'm a senior lecturer, and I teach in the School of Engineering, in the Gordon Engineering Leadership Program, a class on design thinking and leadership. And I also work at Sonos. It's a company that makes wireless speakers, and I run experience and strategy for them. I've designed lots of different kinds of things in my career, everything from pagers from Motorola, speech recognition systems that you use over the phone, web interactions, app interactions, big data visualizations, social robotics, wireless speakers, and a whole bunch of other kinds of things like that, mainly around technology. Although I like to think that when I design, I'm doing it all the time for things like as simple as cooking a meal at home. When I think about design thinking, I think about it as a process that people use to more effectively research and design and test out ideas, particularly in the domain of how they affect people. I think often designing is about finding opportunities. So there's an opportunity for me to help you live your life better. I have a new technology. What's the opportunity to use that in the context of, I don't know, processing a payment, or making music more enjoyable, or helping you understand your world better? So what are the opportunities I can use those new technologies in? If I think about it as an opportunity, then I can start thinking about different users, people, technologies, and ideas, and putting them together. When we're thinking about developing really great products, we have to think about two aspects of it, both kind of what it does and how people think about that, and they're kind of aware of it. Like I buy a product and I feel good about having bought it. I feel good intellectually, it was a good price, it has certain kinds of features. But I also think that it's important to think about what the meaning of that product is for people. They may not ever be aware of that, but the meaning of a product affects the way people use it and think about using it in ways that are almost subconscious. And this is where a designer needs to spend a lot of time, particularly if you want to make a product that's a breakthrough product and that changes the way people live their lives. A good example of the meaning of a product is when it comes to a watch. New digital watches and digital technologies that we wear on our wrist have different kinds of meaning depending on who made them. For some people, the meaning is about fitness. I'm going to track your fitness and understand what you do over the course of your day, and even divine what activities you're doing based on what I sense. For other companies, it's about sharing ideas and tracking some health issues and thinking about a different perspective. And for other companies, it's taking an existing watch and saying, well, watches that were mechanical were better than other mechanical watches, were more complicated. So the digital versions add more data and more complications. Each of these different watches express meaning in a different way to those users. The only way to know that your design is successful and actually effective and powerful is to test it with users. And sometimes you won't even be able to exercise all the elements that show the real power of a solution. Sometimes the power of a solution comes at these little moments where someone will use a product or your system or your solution and realize, boy, I thought it was going to be difficult this one moment, and it was so easy. That's, I think, when you get to really learn about the effectiveness of your solution. Generally, the less obtrusive a solution is, the more natural it feels for someone, the less they're even aware about it, the more powerful the solution can be. When I teach the design thinking process, I teach a 10-step process. The process breaks down into three major areas, and that's research, design, and evaluation. And it's really just a simple way of thinking about how to go through a process with some bit of structure to it. The 10 steps don't have to happen in any particular order. Generally, research happens before you test something, but otherwise, students can kind of dip in and dip out of different steps. And what we find is that once students get to understand the process pretty well, they realize they're doing many of the steps all at once and just emphasizing different areas. And the real value of the process is more of a checklist so they can understand that they shouldn't miss certain elements to it. For a student to become a really good designer, it's about practice. It's like studio art. It's like anything else. It's not a thing you can read about and then simply do and become a great designer. You have to do it all the time. And I think that the method that we use to make our students successful is about making them aware that design is everywhere. Everything around you was designed, whether it's the chair I'm sitting on as a chair, or the material that was chosen, or the manufacturing process that was used, or the shipping method that was used, or the sales method that was used to sell it to MIT. Everything was designed. And the more you realize that everything's been designed, the more you're aware of how to manipulate things and what levers you can pull to produce a great design. And the more you're aware of that, the more you start practicing it almost subconsciously. So when you get up in the morning, you're designing what you're going to wear. When you go to work, you're designing your route to work. When you're doing something where you create something like a lesson plan, you're of course designing that, but if you see it as a design problem and you're aware of it, you think about it a little bit differently. I think that our students become more successful when they realize everything they do is solving a design problem.